Hello and welcome back to the Florida Men Gaming. My name is Furian and today we're playing Magic the Gathering Arena. But before we get started, I'd like to ask that you please like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and if you're over there on Rumble, go ahead and smash that Rumble button. For today's video, we are doing another Magic Bite, episode number, I believe, 5 in the series. And for that video, we are doing Mill. This is the Capenna version of Mill, as I've dubbed it, and what we're running here is an interesting combination of cards that really synergize well together and can throw your opponents for a loop. So, what's different from other Mill decks? We're running a Lord Xander the Collector. This is a massive card. It is a 7-mana legendary vampire demon noble. When he enters the battlefield, the target opponent discards half the cards in their hand rounded down. Whenever he attacks, the defending player mills half their library rounded down, and when he dies, they sacrifice half the non-land permanents they control rounded down. So what that basically means is if they have 3 permanents, half of that would be 1.5. You round that down to 1, they sacrifice 1. So that is fantastic. Big card, does a lot of good stuff for us. We're also running 2 copies of Cut Your Losses. This is New Capenna's contribution to the mill strategy. It will replace most likely a lot of the mill pieces that we'll be losing once the sets from Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, Zendikar Rising, and the like rotate away. This card is interesting. Target player mills half their library, rounded down. And with a casualty of 2, it can sacrifice a 2-power creature on the board and double that effect. So that's really, really scary, really effective, and will be very worthwhile having in our deck. A couple of staples here. We're running 4 Ruin Crab, we're running 4 Maddening Cacophony, 4 Tasha's Hideous Laughter, 2 Galvanic Iterations, which is really like having 4 if you cast it and then cast it again from the graveyard, 4 Double Strike, just in case. We're running an Invoke Calamity. I have never run that particular card with the mill set up until now. Very useful for quick recasts out of the graveyard. We're running 2 copies of Ognis, the Dragon's Lash. Why? It's not a bad thing having some treasure. And it also gives us a sacrifice fodder for the Cut Your Losses, gives us a little bit of onboard pressure, helps us kind of stabilize in the red colors if we need to. So a lot of different strategy and version in putting that particular card in. Other cards we're running to try and help keep us stabilized, keep us moving in the mill direction. 2 copies of the Suspicious Stowaway. This card is designed to get in, get little love taps, and help us get some hand fixing going. 2 copies of the Malevolent Hermit for a little bit of counterspell action, but more so, again, the 2 toughness is super important for what we're trying to accomplish. So, or not the 2 toughness, the 2 power. We want to be able to, again, have that casualty kicker. 2 Fading Hope to either save our creatures or bounce theirs if we're facing off against a very heavy aggressive deck. An Errant Street Artist. Again, this one, I'm going to try it and see how it does, if I can maybe Invoke Calamity, and then if I still have mana left over, because that's a pretty expensive spell, 1 and a blue, copy a targeted spell that wasn't cast. So, Invoke Calamity makes it so that the spells aren't cast, so we'll try it and see how it works with the Errant Street Artist, see if we can get another copy off of that. And yeah, so a couple of different pieces there. We're also running 2 copies of the Efreet Flamepainter. This card is a 3 and a red, double striker, 1/4. Whenever Efreet Flamepainter deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. So, once again, it's an alternate way for less intensive mana costs to invoke Calamity out, say, a Tasha's or a Cut Your Losses or a Maddening Cacophony. And again, that gives us an even cheaper option as it relates to what the Errant Street Artist allows for, that we could potentially move our way through the opponent in a very meaningful way. How are we capitalizing on the Ruin Crab? This is a really, really good set for capitalization on that because they introduced very specific fetch lands keyed into certain colors. In this particular deck, we're running 4 copies of the Maestros Theater. This hits the battlefield, immediately bounces itself out, and you get to go fetch a second land. So it's like an Evolving Wilds, but you don't have to wait to crack it. Then we also have 4 Evolving Wilds. Nice thing about the Maestros Theater as well, it gives you 1 health on that trigger. So really useful pieces there for our strategy. We're going to go ahead and put you in here, let you see the gameplay. Again, this is the Magic Bite series. 1 win. We're going to come back in the post-game and show you how the deck performed. So with that, enjoy the gameplay footage, and I will see you in the post-game breakdown.
Consider yourself fortunate, our voters alive. Dire times call for dire tactics.
Alright, welcome back. It is good to see you again. I hope you enjoyed that win. It was against, of course, a mono-black deck. And what we're dealing with here is a very effective mill deck. I have said it in the past, I do believe that the mill strategy is probably the most effective way to deal with Ob Nixilis, especially Ob Nixilis decks, because they run such low mana cost that one Tasha's Hideous Laughter really wipes them out. I was playing against an Ob deck at one point, and not in this video, but I hit them for 27 plus cards on the Tashas just because of how low their mana cost and mana curve was. So let's take a quick look at how this deck has been performing. It's gone through multiple versions. What you're seeing here is version 3. Version 3 went 1-1. Overall, the deck has gone 4-4. Really, it just comes down to, do you pull the draw? And that's the name of the game. If you can't draw your cards, you can't win the game. And the losses I've had have struggled with drawing cards. I've had to move some pieces around to try and figure out what's the best balance of cards to run in this deck that allows me to get the maximum effective draw and still capitalize on the opponent and, you know, the decks that we're playing against. The loss in the new version was against an Angels deck, so, you know, we can double cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter all we want, but when they're hitting big Angel cards, big Angel spells, it's not going to be a very effective mill. So, you know, that being said, it's a very fun deck. Like I said, I think it's the most effective pile you can run potentially against Ob Nixilis, against Mono White. If they don't have a Thalia on the board, these cards all can really contribute to a massive headache for the opponent. With that, I appreciate you guys coming to hang out. We will see you in the next video. My name is Furion from the Florida Men Gaming, signing off until the next time.